Let's get started. It's 10 a.m. my time, 7:30 p.m. in India. So, hello everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and thank you for joining us today for this interactive webinar on role of L&D in a changing landscape, hosted by Integra jointly with our guest, Mr. Raghuraman Jayaramalu, Senior DGM Skills and Training at L&D Construction. Welcome, Raghuramanji, and I really appreciate you taking our time today from your busy schedule.
Thank you, Piyush. Thank you.
Sure. Let's change the slide. Just a few housekeeping notes before we get started. If you can't hear audio, ensure you have selected the right speaker for the audio output. Test your speakers to ensure it's working fine. And for the audio settings option on the left corner of your screen, all attendees must be mute by default. Please post your questions in the chat window. We'll try to attend all the questions during the sessions. In case we are not able to get to all the questions, we'll answer them via follow-up email. And all participants of the webinar will receive a link to the webinar recording. Let's move to the next slide. A quick introduction about Integra. I'll not take much, probably spend 2 minutes here. We are a 28-year-old organization in this business. Over the last 28 years, I would say 28 glorious years, we have acquired significant domain expertise in delivering end-to-end expertise across the learning value chain, from content development all the way to delivery. We are extremely proud of our clients like L&T and our relationships where Integra works more like a partner than a vendor. We have close to 2,600 people across 5 global delivery centers who work on various client activities to support our customers build and deliver world-class learning experience. In addition to the services, Integra also offers 8 cutting-edge SaaS platforms to help our customers leverage latest technologies and make real impact on their workflows and the way in which they build, deliver, refresh, and track content. Our dedicated research lab ensures that both Integra and our customers stays ahead of the curve, make use of the latest technology in a meaningful way to deliver a great learning experience to the learner. With more than 50% of women employees, Integra is consistently ranked among the top 20 diversity and inclusive companies in India. We have won multiple awards in this area in the last 5 years. With that, I'm back now. Hello, can you hear me?
Good evening, all. Due to that time constraint, I introduce myself. Raghuraman Jayaramalu, Senior Deputy General Manager, Skills Training in L&T Construction. I have 24 years of experience, 10 years at the project sites, 14 years I'm working in the skilling ecosystem, construction skilling ecosystem. I'm taking care of various project initiatives like our project execution, project management, and taking care of the internal audit and all the things only. Piyush, I introduce myself. I will go into the session. Piyush, are in mute? You are in mute. Before is going, Piyush will join. I'm going to explaining about today. We're talking about that learning and development. Luckily, I came from L&T. Whoever is mentioning about L&T means Lords L&T, bro. Particularly the training department, everyone knows about that learning and training department. Both the things are same. The Integra requested me to come and give that some webinar session. I'm very much liking the learning and development topic. Immediately accepted. A lot of continuous interaction with Integra, even though they are our vendor developing a lot of e-content during, particularly in the pandemic time. We discussed a lot. We came out from different strategy, different training model. We did three project with Integra. One of the project for workman training, second one for the supervisor training. Both are different strategy. We're reaching to that workman, to that targeted audience. Finally, we recently are working with the Integra for training the trainer, master trainer program. It's the first time in India that connecting with the NSDC, National Skill Development Council of India. Everything doing physically only, but we and Integra tried and developed e-content. We're going to launch soon. This is the updation I'm providing additional to all our whoever connected with through the webinar.
Yeah, thank you, Raghuramji. I'm dropping in place of Piyush.
Nice, sir.
So to begin with our first
Yeah,
question,
let's see.
since you had mentioned about the pandemic, so in your opinion, what has changed after the pandemic? And if at all anything has changed, what has changed?
Yes, a lot of changes. Even though we are pioneer in skills training, past 27 years in the field, we compare with the government of India. L&T have been imparting training, construction skilling 27 years before. We faced a lot of problem. We already developed some of the e-content 2009 onwards. Even though we are very strong during the pandemic time, the attitude of the workman is totally changed. Same way the employer, I think the construction project manager, the requirement also going to change. We lost a lot of trained resources, but whoever coming to the industry, they are interested to want that on the job training. But employer not interested to put in that direct job. Why? Because wastage is more, quality is also going to affected, unable to achieve the productivity. That time we were in between both employer and employee. We solved the problem through e-content only. What we developed with Integra during that pandemic, before the pandemic, we were immediately bringing into the small nuggets and reaching the people. It's clearly worked out. Both the sides happy, employer and employee both are happy. They're not accepted that mindset of the student, fresh mindset. They're not accepting that training period. They thought that is a wasting of time. Our construction industry and other hands-on experienced who are producing by hand, they are not interested to the physical training. Now the theoretical part we're converting directly into e-content. They're saving the time. Only physical intervention only happening in the yard. Now I will show some of the slide in the things only. The assessment of that assessor doing assessment directly in that tab itself. Students are getting their content through tab or mobile. Now it is workout. It is the future. Yes, Prakash.
You can play the video. Can you hear me now, Mr.
Yes, sir,
Raghu?
please. Yes.
Perfect.
We'll show some of that video and
Kindly
animation. You get some idea what level you are connecting with that physical intervention in the offline. Just now you seen two things. One is for that manual video, the physically the present. Second one is for the animation. We have captured each and every minute point, particularly about the safety. You've covered all the things, each and everything. Students before coming to the training session, they're going to check and come back and take the training. It is giving for the 50% of the discount for the training time.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Mr. Raghu. Really appreciate that. That brings us to the next question, which is just when countries were starting to recover, we have geopolitical issues, right? We are hearing about inflation, recession. So we are very interested to know what is its impact on business, specifically in terms of skills and availability and reskilling,
It's
etc.
good, a good push. India is the demographic dividend percentage is more. Once we train the resources, only going to get the job in that abroad. But we get the some of the two informations from that global research. One is the fact, one is the feel. We have a lot of engineers, and also we have the fresh workman also more from India point of view. But the core area of the central core area of that supervisor foreman level, there is a minus. They're showing very clearly to the minus 13%. They are the driver for the entire construction industry or manufacturing industry also majorly. But you have the plenty of engineers and plenty of fresh workmen. This is the fact. We're unable to adapt in that our system. But come to that field, what is that that abroad, that globally means 39% of the employees or workmen not satisfying that productive requirement. This both the slides, fact and fields clearly indicating that the potential of that learning and development. Learning and development department now henceforth play a role. The entire catchment area, I'm talking about that the workman level, they're not getting the actual training input. That means the actual training input means for example, particularly I'm talking about one supervisor or one fresh engineers. What they want, what type of meta competence they want, how they're going to perform on day one. That is totally missing. I'll go to the next slide, Prakash. I'm giving for some glimpse of the construction industry. 2022 total demand, our total workforce nearly 8.32 crores. But see the bottom level workman band itself 6.6. That's the 80% of the workman they'll come and do. Every year it is nearly 10% of the new entrants are entering in the field without any training. It is totally damaging. That means where we unnecessarily holding 10% of the untrained resources for the next year. Every time 10% means it is spoiling the industry. That means we're going to bring some robust training structure, start from that workman to that fresh engineers, overlapping with that some training input and removing that overlapping of the responsibility. Anyone joined to the industry, they're going to think about I am continuing the same industry. They're going to get the aspiration and get the certificate, continuous certificate, motivating the candidate easily. Yes.
Great. That kind of brings me to the related question, right? Which is how has this impacted the construction industry which you represent, and in general in industries where workforce being on the ground, is absolutely necessary, and business cannot function without that.
A good question. Particularly about in India, I'm talking about we are giving for the least respect to that bottom of the pyramid who are doing producing by hand. That is 80% of the people. Other 10% of the people, 14 to 15% for that managing the show, like a foreman or supervisor only. Particularly about that agriculture industry, construction industry, manufacturing industry. Don't think about the assembly unit. I'm talking about the production, manufacturing production only. Next one is the power and distribution and textile and cooking industry. The all six industry predominantly connected with that working resources. I'm bringing different thoughts to you that 100 people working in the industry. I'm mentioned about the sound industry. I am mentioning about the 100 people working. The 40% of the people, 40 people, they're doing only for logistics, shifting of material, first shifting, second or third or fourth shifting only. They're not doing anything productive job, only shifting of the material. We are going to target on the 60% of the people going to start for the training, providing the correct input. Second will come to the 40% of the people who are interested to that industry, particular industry. They are getting aspiration of the industry, start for the training. That means unskilled to highly skilled, supervisory band, foreman, charge and supervisor. Particularly about the fresh engineers, everybody is going to connect in that same bandwidth. Another one information I'm going to provide previously that any government tender clearly mentioning about 70% of the material component, 30% of that workman human resource component. Nowadays, the 50% is the material component, 50% is the labor component, workman component is coming. That means based on the manufacturing efficiency and negotiation skill, we brought down 70 to 50%. Because of you not trained the proper human resources, we're paying 20% more. Now, learning and development department concentrating upon how to improve the human resources in a particular manner, in a shortest duration, in a specific inputs, will going to give more profit to the organization. I'm giving for the productivity another one input. America and comparing with India, that means that our that $1 equal to 70 rupees means they are producing more. That human resources productivity is more. Our productivity is less. The learning and development department think about how we're going to improve the productivity. Once the entire human resources start moving for the productivity is more means we're going to reach soon to that level that dollar rate with Indian rupees rate as also. Thank you.
Right. Absolutely. And I think very, very insightful. Really appreciate that kind of analysis. I'm sure everybody will kind of learn from this a lot. So let's move on to the next question. We all know about huge learning gaps that has happened in the recent past, especially fresh graduates, etc. Do you see any impact in terms of workforce training for fresh recruits? Is there a need to make adjustments to the depth and the duration of training that is needed for these freshers?
Yes, I already mentioned the previous question itself for that. What is the gap in that fresh engineers? Luckily, I'm working with that training department, also involved for curriculum development of our fresh engineers, diploma holders, and postgraduate engineers also. I'm not going to saying anything negative to that fresh engineers or technician. They are very much competent to taking care of the day-to-day work. They don't know about how to the banking system, how to do the mobile, all the things only. But coming for the technical things, what they are brought into that industry, that is the huge gap is there. L&D is continuously doing for some content development for the 1 year structured training, 6 months structured training. We are continuously enhancing their requirement. You're clearly mentioning about the duration is the big impact. We are, I think, as a training department, we are thinking about that within shortest time, I will going to produce, I will going to give certain input for going to develop the people. Instead of that, the fresh engineers, they're going to fix their mindset. I am capable of doing only execution. I'm taking care of only for quality based on my attitude. I'm taking care of only for that MEP process. I'm only working for the planning department. I'm taking care of that project. That way only they're going to fix their mindset, start some of the content, searching the content in the net, or they're going to develop themselves. Otherwise, recently L&T is L&T EduTech business already launched that some of the courses, also the supporting for their personal professional certification. In case once that like L&T they're giving for some offer means during the college time itself, I'm talking about the 5th semester or 7th semester or 6th or 8th semester, they're going to complete at least 1 or 2 based on their liking. For quality survey means they're going to take over quality survey. Quality means take care of the quality. That means that people are coming on day 1, they are the productive. The informations are available. How they're oriented themselves, that is very, very important. Yes.
Yeah. Great. I think, again, very insightful. And this kind of becomes a benchmark for other companies to kind of follow and also learn from L&T how you are dealing with the freshers and, helping them reach that level of productivity that is expected, isn't it? So I think great work and kudos to you and your team for implementing this. My next question is sort of related again, which is how is L&T responding to the current challenges? Where do you see yourself focusing more to be ready to respond to the future disruptions that we are expecting in days and years to come? So what it's more like, what's the future state?
Piyush, already that alarm already started during the pandemic time. Particularly, I mentioned about the alarm already started 2004 itself in India. Why? Because there nobody is taking care of aspiration for that physical activities. Now that getting manpower to that industry and extracting the work is that very very stringent. Now we brought into the different process for the multi-skilling. Multi-skilling means anybody get aspiration on the any occupation or any industry. Once they're reaching means, please do some of the mapping on allied trades. For example, I'm giving for mason. Mason, what are the allied trades is there? Tiling is there, gladding work is there, and also doing some granite job. In addition to that, please connect with the plumbing department. Plumbing, doing the services. Why I'm bringing for mason and plumbing means both are coming under the wet. For example, some of the dry trades are there. Bar bending, farm work means they're not doing anything touching in that wet surface, including electrical also. But mason and plumbing both are doing for wetting means connect both the things. Any person get the job in the industry is going to continue as a mason. At the time of the project ending, plumbing work is going on, is getting for a continuous job in the industry itself. Based on that only, you're going to provide some mapping and give the input to the people. Multi-skilling only save or giving better benefit to that industry. This is our point. Already we started the multi-skilling, connecting the allied trades and all the things we are doing. Some of the things we're providing for optional trade also. In case somebody is doing for bar bending, I'm providing for the shuttering and carpentry also. Somebody is doing welding, I'm giving for some bar bending trade. What are the things possible? I will going to providing. That means less resources will going to produce more. Who are the people coming to the industry? They're getting the continuous job. This is the way only going to solve.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I agree. I think reskilling and doing multitasking and multi-skilling, like you mentioned in your slide, makes so much sense. My next question is related to your experience in the industry, right? You've been in the industry for such a long time, and a critical question is, how L&D, transitions from being a support function to a business critical function where you kind of drives the business outcomes. Is it possible? How far can we go? Any thoughts on that?
Yes, Piyush. The industry is liking or not, learning and development department is going to rule the entire future, entire any industry or any organization. I'm just sharing that European model. What we are doing in L&T, what we are suggesting to the learning and department. Three things I'm going to explain. That European industry, they're clearly mentioning about what is the capacity building. They're using the name for capacity building. Second one is very very important: curriculum design and quality assurance. This is the backbone of the entire learning and development. We are doing for that course depends on this role only. What is the minimum infrastructure required? What type of syllabus you're going to create? What type of small nuggets you're going to bring it for that each and every level? The second part is very very important: plan and design the learning. After that, only for the training delivery. In the training delivery is going to happen in the physical or e-content or remote or online, offline, what are we going to do? But we want to develop the content as per the industry. Blueprint is very, very important. I'm just giving the example for the Europe. The Europe, that I'm particularly about the UK. UK has 37,000 of nuggets of e-content, syllabus they're having. Everything connected with only for toll occupation only, the toll industry only. That means the switch overing to the safety means general safety they're using for 7 locations, housekeeping the location for that 8 locations. That means robust mapping is happening in that entire country itself. My request means each and every learning department do the robust in that particular industry or the particular organization itself. Organizations get benefited. That means your objective, training material, training delivery, your trainer, your assessment and evaluation, everything is a single line. There is no change. That only you're going to that after that only you get for the internal competency very clearly. That means don't give the training to the anyone. Please assess the people, evaluate the people, find the skill gap and train the people. This is the way only going to do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love your confidence about L&D ruling the industries and stuff like that. I think we are in a good space then. um, that brings me to the last question. We have 5 more minutes on the clock, which is, what's your outlook about the about the L&D in general and specific to the industries that depend on majority of the workforce who has to be on the ground. So what's your view on that?
For learning and development, my humble request to the entire industry or any other occupation, I told very clearly you're going to do the occupational survey in the industry or at particularly in your organization. Collect the functional analysis, what type of function they are doing, that occupation existing or not. Two things is very, very important. Once that is completed, you're going to level all the things particularly. In case you want to do all the things, please introduce technical HR. Technical HR means the person is end-to-end responsibility of that training, delivery, and output. Once you're bringing the technical HR inside that HR department, you will get all the you're going to clear all the doubts and everything is going to complete it on time. This is very, very important. My only suggestion for, in case learning and development department going to sustain and going to do some strong message means bring in that group one technical HR is required.
That makes sense. We have just enough time to probably look at a couple of questions. I can see a lot of people posting questions here. Probably I'll see if I can pick one of the questions. Prakash, if you can make it visible, I can see a lot of questions only, but I'm not able to read the text.
Prakash, any question?
Yeah, I think what we'll do is we will take this. Okay, there are few actually. I was thinking of kind of wrapping up, but then I saw a couple more added. One of the questions is, can L&T make like domain specific assessments?
Yes, that question
What's
from
on that?
Komadi only. I
Yes.
think, Komadi, you're asking the correct question. Can L&T make domain-specific assessment? Yes. Once you are clear about the domain, based on that only you are developing that content and developing your infrastructure, developing your trainer. That is the backbone of that assessment. Once you are ready for that, only specific assessment is possible, domain specific assessment is possible. Otherwise general assessment is not giving any meaning to that, particularly in the construction industry. We're going to develop the content day one itself. Once identifying any specific domain training means, along with the training input, we're going to do the assessment also ready with us. The assessment input we are using for two times. One is for the pre and post. The pre-assessment, you will find the skill gap of the particular domain and a particular level. Based on that only, you are assigning that training input to the candidate. Hope I answered your question.
Yeah. And probably one more question. We have just 1 more minute. How L&D can collate people at various locations together and keep them on the same page? Obviously during COVID, people are working remotely and stuff, right? So any advice on how to kind of keep people engaged in group activities and stuff like that?
Pawan, you're asking about learning and development can collect people at various locations. You forgot about that
Yes,
location,
yes.
online, offline, everything forgot about that only. I'm continuously reinforcing your content is ready. Wherever they are, we're going to provide the content based on that assessment skill gap only. That means you are ready for giving training at anyone. Other than physical training, you are not bringing anybody in that particular locations. Only soft skill or some of the theoretical information or the theoretical information will going to share the content wherever in the global we're going to do it. That checking the effectiveness through assessment only. We're doing for assessment two times. One is for that summative assessment. One is the formative assessment. We're going to capture that learning easily. Sometimes we're collecting evidence from that student also.
Right, right. And absolutely, we work in day and time and age where there are multinational organizations and training is being done cross border, right? Forget about India alone, but globally, people are doing it in various shape and form. And I think these virtual sessions are extremely powerful. And we have to keep in mind the kind of audience that we are talking to, right? This audience is very much used to working and learning virtually, right? So we are dealing with I was talking to somebody in the US and they said, this they're hiring a lot of freshers from the college and their comfort level with technology is extremely high, right? So they're very, very used to these sessions or small bite-sized learning, etc. I think that's they've worked like that in college, with their friends and stuff like that. So they're very, very comfortable learning virtually. With that, we have come to an end. I think we have exhausted. We are 2 minutes over. I just want to thank Mr. Raghu from the bottom of my heart for taking time out from your busy schedule. Your presence and wise advice, I'm sure, has helped a lot of attendees today, including me. I've learned few things as well. So really, really appreciate.
Thank you, Piyush. Thank you to Integra. Thank you to your team. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks all participants
Perfect.
through webinar.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you all. And like I said at the start, you'll get a link with the recording of this session. And if you have any follow-up question, you can directly reach out to us and we'll be happy to answer that. Thank you.